Thank you for joining us today for Eye on New Mexico. We'll be talking about something that's incredibly important for people of any age, financial literacy. And these days you have to be financially literate even younger than ever before. Joining me today, we have Sylvia Lyon, the CEO of the Credit Union Association of New Mexico. Thanks for being here, Sylvia. And Talynn Portillo, a senior at Cueva High School. She's an intern with the association, a member of the DECA Business Club, and we'll be talking about some of the ways that the internship and your experience has helped you become a more financially literate young person, and hopefully this will benefit all of our viewers watching today. But Sylvia, I'll go ahead and start with you. Now, you as the Credit Union Association, you saw a need a while back for young parents to start thinking about their children's financial future, and then for young people to start thinking about it themselves as well. Tell us why you saw that as being important.
Well, I think, you know, traditionally credit unions have always had kids clubs, you know, where the grandparents or the parents come in and they open up their account and they start saving their pennies and stuff. So we had a program that we pushed out to our members that was called Kirby Kangaroo, and that was for about kindergarten to 5th or 6th grade. Well, in the course of looking at that program and developing it, and it was done on a statewide level, we had a youth involvement committee that helped develop that program. We also saw a tremendous need in the tween and the teen sector, and that was not addressed in a national way, at least by the credit union space. So we developed a program called See You Succeed, and we started to put that out there nationally, not just in New Mexico. And it has grown and grown and grown over the years. We've had that for about 12 years now. We push, we have newsletters, we have products that we put out there. We have a lot of technology, websites, Twitter accounts, texting platforms that we use for our clients. And we have a national client base of about 473 credit unions right now, and 24 out of 48 in New Mexico use our programs. Then we also now saw a need a couple of years ago for even the parent-to-be, like yourself, that is called Little Kirby Roo. And Little Kirby Roo is, we push out a package of newborn products and stuff that the to-be parents can get, and that program has just gone, you know, it's just blown up. It was so popular. So we really addressed the need because we saw that that wasn't being filled, and that even in the schools, financial literacy, now Talynn's a part of DECA, and that's a great program, but financial literacy itself and teaching kids how to manage money and what that means to them over the course of their lifetime simply was not being addressed, and so that's what we're trying to do.
We'll talk more about that in just a minute. You know, in Florida, some state lawmakers want to require high schoolers to take a financial literacy class to graduate. Let's take a look at a report from Florida.
Cash, credit cards, taxes, loans, the financial world can be a maze.
After school, everybody's like, you know, money, money, money.
But when you graduate high school, do you really know how to manage that money?
It's just like saving money is like saving money. So it's pretty bad.
Gabrielle McDonald and a few of her classmates at South Fort Myers High might be the exceptions.
12 ATM withdrawals.
They're in a business academy which dives deep into the often complicated world of finances.
Honestly, I didn't know anything before I came into this class.
They say this course covers more finances than the economics class everyone has to take. Now, a group of lawmakers, including Heather Fitzenhagen from Fort Myers, wants to require every student to take a standalone financial literacy class before graduating.
If it's a requirement, I think a lot of people would graduate and not have to worry about even getting into debt.
So how would this bill affect our local school districts if it becomes law? Well, Lee County says it has the qualified teachers. It can't say for sure how much work would go into preparing the curriculum. The bill reduces the number of electives students are required to take to graduate, so that might mean those teachers would be reassigned.
Collier and Charlotte counties gave similar answers. Both districts say they're keeping an eye on the bill, which is still a long way from becoming law.
I had to ask for that.
These budding financial experts think the class is a worthwhile investment.
It can help you. It will benefit you. It is not a waste of time.
Yeah, definitely not a waste of time to learn about saving money, making good financial decisions. Talynn, you realized that obviously you're only a senior in high school. What made you realize that you wanted to sort of think about this kind of thing as you head into the future?
Well, definitely college, just the price of that and saving for college. And this job opportunity came along, and I wasn't really a credit union kind of person, but over the course of a couple of months, I've learned so much. And the importance of credit unions, you know, how they are more likely to give you a small loan for student loans.
Yeah.
And so I just want to bring, you know, some light to this for other students.
Yeah, tell us about your internship with the Credit Union Association.
So I started in June, and I was hired as their strategic business intern. And I dealt with their product profiles from our 3 programs, Kirby, Kangaroo, Little Kirby Roo, and Claim Your Youth. And that position has kind of grown to me taking over their social media for Claim Your Youth on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. And I help plan our national conference. And we had it in Las Vegas this past year, this past October. So the position has really grown, and I get the respect that my boss and my supervisors give me, and it's awesome. And everyone thinks of me as a team leader that contributes just the same amount as any other adult would.
Yeah, so you're getting career training really already here. You mentioned that program, Claim Your Youth, that Sylvia, I'm sure, can talk more about too, but Claim Your Youth is specifically for teens, essentially. Tell us about that.
We try and give teens a heads up on their financial future, and we're all about creating the financial culture in teens, and we do that by connecting directly to the teens or to the credit unions that are our members. And like Sylvia said, we have newsletters that we give the credit unions specifically for Claim Your Youth that they can give to their youth members, and it just talks about how to save for certain things, you know, car loans, college loans, you know, things that kind of relate to that age group.
Sylvia, when I was a teenager, I think I got a debit card after I graduated from high school. I mean, and that's when I started learning about a savings account and a banking account, and so it was fairly late. I mean, to be 18 years old and going to college and starting to sort of get an idea of what this was all about. But you know, the Claim Your Youth program is for ages 13 to 18, so really you're targeting them much younger.
Well, you have to today, because if you don't, then they just step out into the world and they're barraged with all of this. They don't know what the consequence is, you know, and the consequences, as we know, can be dire for someone that has not taken the steps to save and be able to manage their money and know how to spend it, what to save for, what's the cost of a loan. I mean, a lot of people don't even understand what the cost, that you have to repay a loan, number one, and number two, there are costs associated with a loan. We have had examples of kids that go to get a job and they're so excited, they don't know that their taxes taken out of that, and that there is a something called gross pay and something called net pay. So even the smallest things like budgeting, you know, and you know, I want to emphasize too that we talk about the kids as individuals. Really, this is about families. Families understanding how to be financially fit and how to manage their lives, you know, through the course of their lifetime with their children, and then transcend that to their children. And we know that probably isn't being done on the scale that it needs to be done either in New Mexico or on a national level. We have a tremendous number of unbanked people, and the majority of them are young people in that 18 to 25 range too. They don't have a banking relationship. One thing we found out with another program that we ran in New Mexico for a couple of years called Young and Free was the intimidation factor that young people have of walking into a financial institution and asking to open an account. They feel as if they don't have enough money, or that someone might look at them a little differently because they aren't as well established financially. That was very eye-opening for me. I thought to not be able to, or to have overcome the fear of walking into a financial institution and asking to open up an account. But it's much more widespread than you think.
Yeah, that's incredible. And, you know, Talynn pointed out that she has learned a lot about working in a credit union specifically. How is that different than walking into a bank, for example? We know that there are so many credit unions here in New Mexico that people take advantage of. Tell us about maybe some of the benefits of that.
The benefits of walking into a credit union versus
a bank, yeah.
Well, I think that, you know, credit unions are a little bit more, well, because we're owned by our members, we're financial cooperatives. I think we look at things strategically a little bit differently. You know, we're not looking at making money so we can pay our shareholders. We're looking at making money so we can return that in the way of better products and services to our members. So everyone is treated more equally, I think, you know, in terms of your age is not a factor in terms of how they're treated. Credit unions look out for the best interest of their members, and that there is not an age discrimination in that.
That's a great point. So how young could you walk into a credit union, maybe with your parent, and decide I'm going to open up an account and start doing this?
Well, go today. Take your unborn and open up an account. I mean, there is no age. You don't have to be a certain age. At any age, you can walk in, and if you have to have a co-owner on your account, then that's fine. But no, we don't have any age limit.
So it's really never too early to start learning
It's never
this.
too early. It's never too early.
Talynn, as a young person, I mean, what have you done over the last few years? You mentioned college. Obviously, you're looking ahead to that pretty soon here. Have you started saving? Were your parents saving for you? What has your experience been like?
My parents were saving a little bit ever since I was born, but I hadn't really started saving because I never really had my own money until I got this job. And so I put a little away every paycheck to start doing that, and I'm looking in to student loans and to seeing what kind of opportunities that will give me.
Yeah, we're going to talk about student loans in a minute here, because obviously that can open up a lot of, it's great that kids can borrow money and go to college, but it can also leave young people in a lot of debt. So we'll talk about that in a minute. I wanted to ask you though, you know, you said you never really had your own money till you got this job.
Yes.
What has that meant? I mean, so how do you manage that now? And what?
Oh gosh. Well, I go directly into my account for the money that I get, and you know, keeping it in an account kind of helps me manage it a lot better than just having cash on hand. I've learned over the course of this job already that having cash, I can just blow it so easily. But then having it in my account, I can really manage it and say, okay, so this is this much and this much, and I still have this much left. That's
some good advice for people. I know that on college campuses, I remember, you know, I know for a fact my husband fell victim to this when he was in college. They're often targeted by credit card companies. They want them to sign up for things. It can be very, you know, I assume that's still happening, Sylvia, on college campuses.
Certainly. I mean, that age group is prime because I would hate to, I'm not going to discredit an industry, but I think that they know that the money management skills are probably not there, and they know that kids are going to tend to have a revolving balance, and they're going to pay down, and they're, you know, and at that age, the APR is horrendous, you know, as opposed to someone with established credit and a good credit score like yourself. So it is a little bit predatory, in my opinion. I hope I don't get any letters, but it is a little predatory, and it's of great concern. There's a lot of information out there right now, I think, for college kids, and I think they're learning more. I mean, you take Gen X, they were really targeted heavily. Now the millennials, Gen Y, they're a little more savvy about it, but going back to now, they don't trust financial institutions because of everything they've seen from their parents and maybe some older siblings. So here again, we're going back to they don't trust financial institutions, and so a lot of them, too many of them, are unbanked.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, obviously, Talynn is a member of the credit union. I take it as well, or have you joined? And you have an account, obviously, you said. So you have a bank account. Do you have a credit card?
No, I have a debit card.
Okay.
But I've heard friends, you know, a little older than I am that are just turned 18 going into college, they are already getting bombarded with credit cards.
And what do you think about that? Is something you'd be interested in?
I don't know. I'm kind of scared for that to happen. But I think I've learned a lot of money management skills already with this job. So.
Well, In New Mexico, we actually ran a story this past week that had some good news for the students here. Most college students will actually end up owing less money when they graduate than students elsewhere in the country. The debt average is lower here. Let's look at this story Stuart Dyson reported.
New Mexico college students who graduated in 2012 owed on the average just under $18,000 in student loan debt. That may sound like a lot, but it's peanuts compared to many other states. Look at Delaware, highest student debt in the nation at nearly $34,000, followed by New Hampshire at close to $33,000. New Mexico is about $15,000 less. On campus today, we met student after student who told us they expect to have little debt or none at all by the time they grab that diploma. When you graduate, would you have a lot of debt to pay back?
No.
You don't have any loans, anything like that?
No.
Wow.
I have the lottery scholarship. I just have to pay for one semester by myself, I think. So I shouldn't have too much debt. I mean, because I don't want to do student loans because those are horrible.
Because of the lottery?
That's the big difference.
Yeah.
So, are you living at home, working?
I'm living at home, yeah, and working.
The national average is more than $29,000, and as we all know, the slow recovery from the recession makes it harder than ever for those graduates to get decent paying jobs and start paying off those debts.
Wow. Well, Sylvia was watching that and realizing the kids today are more savvy. That's a good thing.
It is a good thing because, you know, it's bad enough to get into a credit card issue, but then if you pile the student debt on top of that, it's even worse. And I mean, you know, obviously Congress has tried to, excuse me, help deal with that. But still, the kind of debt that people are walking away with, it's great news to hear. I had not heard that story by Stuart, but it's great news to hear that New Mexico is not. The kids are coming away with less and less. And thank you to the lottery for helping them.
Well, we have obviously the lottery scholarship that helps that a lot. Obviously, they're looking for ways to shore up that fund too. We'll hear more about that in just a minute. We'll stay right here, and we'll talk more with Sylvia Lyon and Talynn Portillo in just a minute. Thank you for staying with us today. We've been talking about preparing for your financial future from a young age and how important that is throughout life. We have Sylvia Lyon, the CEO of the Credit Union Association of New Mexico. Thanks, Sylvia, for being here. And Talynn Portillo, a senior at Cueva High School, who is already taking charge of her future, doing an internship with the Credit Union Association, and making some good choices about saving her money already from this job she has now. In the last segment, Talynn, we saw the story about student debt, and I know heading into college that you're very concerned about making sure you're prepared for the future. You know, walk us through kind of what you're looking at as you go into college. Are you looking at getting scholarship money? Obviously, you said you're saving a little bit. Are you planning on going to school here or out of state?
I'm looking at in-state and out-of-state both, but I'm just definitely grateful for the lottery scholarship. So yes, I am looking into scholarships for sure, getting the maximum benefit that I can with those. And then if I need to do anything with loans or something, I will look into that.
So obviously a lot of choices to make.
Yes.
And do you have a career planned out right now? I mean, I remember being 17 and a senior, and you're barely thinking past graduation.
Right.
How far ahead are you thinking right now?
Actually, really far. I know what I want to do when I'm older. Something with sports marketing, like at a big MLB stadium. So this job has definitely helped me with the marketing field. Calling marketers directly on the phone, that was kind of scary, but it's definitely a good experience.
Excellent. Now you manage, as you mentioned in the first segment, the social media aspect of this. Why is there a social media aspect to this job? What are you doing? And tell us kind of about that.
Well, part of our target market, I guess, that we go after are the teens directly, and they're all over social media. And so through Facebook, we post funny kind of posts, and then also the serious financial ones. And then on Twitter, we kind of keep that more serious with financials talks, or just quotes of the day. And actually on Twitter, we just received a follow from Kristen Christensen, and she's a pretty big deal in credit union land, we like to say.
Well, she's a pretty big deal in financial services, because remember, she founded Bank Transfer Day.
Oh, okay.
And she's now one of our big supporters, and actually is going to be a speaker. We just contracted with her at our next Claim Your Youth conference next year, which we're going to do simulcast from Detroit and Dallas and Seattle.
Excellent.
And so we're pretty excited about the fact that she picked us up on Twitter, and now she's retweeting all our stuff and pushing our stuff out for us too.
And tell us more about what she started, Sylvia.
Bank Transfer Day, that was 2 years ago, October, and that was, she had some unfortunate experience with her financial institution, a bank, and then so she challenged the world, the Twitter world, and actually the whole social media world, to change their financial institution and switch from the big banks to credit unions. It was very, very successful. I think we moved about, oh gosh, over 1 million people into credit unions in that one day, and so it was a big deal. She's just been a real supporter, a real advocate for looking outside the box for your financial fitness, and looking for alternatives and choices that will help you as a consumer. And it's not just directed at credit union people or bank people. It's just, as a consumer, here are ways for you to be more financially fit and more financially educated. So we're pretty excited about the fact that she's picked us up and she's advocating on our behalf now. And the Claim Your Youth program.
And I remember that when that happened, because, you know, people do start getting random fees to have a checking account, for example, now, and that started ramping up in recent years. No free checking anymore at a lot of banks and things like that. So as a consumer, I know for myself, I would call my bank and say, hey, I don't want to pay this fee. What do I have to do? And hopefully they do have an option that helps you manage that. But I mean, I think everyone should be able to do that. Call up and say, hey, why am I getting charged this?
Right.
And I don't know what age Christensen is, or Kristen.
She's probably, I think she's in her 30s.
Okay, so she's kind of from that generation of that is maybe advocating for some more of that consumer.
And she just got really ticked off. It was just kind of a spur of the moment, aha moment, and she just said, I'm going to push this out there, and then it just, you know, it became viral.
Exactly, it blew up.
Well, Talynn, we were talking in the first half about people being more savvy these days, young people being more savvy. Do you see that among your peers, or do they still have a lot to learn?
I think I've noticed the people who do have jobs are definitely more savvy with their money. I think the people who don't have jobs, they don't really know what it's like yet to save their money or to spend their own actual dollar rather than their parents. And so definitely the people who have the experience of managing their own money are the more savvy ones.
Interesting. And how about people who are in high school with you? Do a lot of them have jobs? And do a lot of them have jobs like yourself that maybe are teaching them kind of some of these real world skills?
Actually, a lot of seniors do have jobs. I haven't come across anyone who has a job like mine, where it's more of a career job, I guess. But I think that through what I'm doing, and I had a Claim Your Youth booth at my school for a DECA project, and a lot of the kids that came up, they seemed really interested in taking over their finances, and so it's really cool that I get to connect this you know, with a bigger horizon than just the people that we market.
Yeah, I should use this to remind people too. DECA is a club that's in most high schools, I think. I know I had it in high school even back a while ago, and this is a business-oriented, it can be a very positive club to join if you are looking at that. Tell us a little bit about DECA.
It is a nonprofit organization that teaches kids about management, business, finances, and entrepreneurship. And for example, at Cueva, we have 3 years of it, and your second year is your marketing year mainly, and then first year is your fundamentals, and then third year is kind of more managing a business. And I'm in my third year, and so for third year, you do a project, a marketing project. And so I'm working with the Financial Operations Research Management, and this actually came from my job. One of the categories was to work with a credit union, and so I get the opportunity to work with the Credit Union Association of New Mexico for that.
Excellent.
You should tell her a little bit about the Ambassadors Program, the DECA Ambassadors Program.
Yes. So we are partnering with DECA to get those students into credit unions, the ones that are members of our program, and so they would become Claimer Youth Ambassadors, and that's where I started. That's where I got this opportunity from. And we had a couple other girls intern with us this summer who are all in DECA, and so it's really cool that DECA students specifically get this opportunity to come to credit unions around the state and around the country.
Excellent.
And it was really a lot of fun to have 4 girls in our office this summer putting viral videos together and stuff, giggling and having the time of their lives. It was really great.
Yeah. Now, actually, Sylvia, I was going to ask if other young people or their parents are watching, how can they get an internship similar to what Talynn's been doing?
Well, just call our office, 298-9899, and you know, we'll be looking for people to take over Talynn's spot, unfortunately, when she leaves. And over the summer, we may have a few more come in as summer interns, because we think that's really vital to keeping the program vibrant and robust and current. Is we need to tap into the youth. Sure. Okay? And we may think we know them, but I guarantee you we don't know them until we're actually around them. And that's the joy of being able to do this, is really getting to know them and see how terribly talented they are, and they're focused. And you know, kids get a lot of, I think teens and tweens get a bad rap, but they're way more good ones. You know, they're really great kids.
I always say I love it when we can have a young person on this program too. So that's always nice. And you know, I was going to say, whenever I'm reading random stories online about sort of the jobs that maybe people should be looking at, if you're looking at what kind of career to get into, business, financial, these are still good jobs. The industries that are still providing a lot of jobs. Is that right, Sylvia?
Well, it is. And entrepreneurship, you know, I think is huge right now, and there's a lot of discussion just, you know, nationally about entrepreneurship. And this is another facet of the Claim Your Youth program, that they are promoting entrepreneurship through Claim Your Youth to the young people. And how do you do that? Because most young people want to be entrepreneurs. They want to be in charge of their own destiny. And so we try to teach them and give them ideas and the skills of how they can do that and let them go with it. So it's been a great experience for us. We can't say enough about it, and the kids that have been involved.
Excellent. And Talynn, I take it you would encourage other young people to take on this opportunity.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Talynn Portillo, intern with the Credit Union Association, and Sylvia Lyon, the CEO of the Credit Union Association of New Mexico. Again, thank you both for being here today and talking about this. She mentioned a phone number. Anything you heard on this program, you can always call us at the station, and we'll get you put in touch with the right people. Thanks again for both of you for being here today, and thanks for watching. We'll see you next Sunday for another Eye on New Mexico.